Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In my very last video, I highlighted perspective from David Schwarz, who was noting that really the thing that Bitcoin maximalists fear most is a level playing field. And that's what we have now. And fair to say, of course, there are certain things that still need to unfold since Trump did just get in office, but we're going that direction at a minimum, very obviously. And as a result of that, there's a very real chance that Bitcoin's not always going to be number one in market cap. And what if XRP overtakes ETH? And what if Bitcoin does lose that number one spot? I mean, it'd be interesting to see that happen. I'm not going to predict it, but that's not crazy to think. And even David Schwarz was talking about it. And I'm not going to go into it further in this video, but that was the primary topic of my last video. It's interesting, topic of conversation. I encourage you to check it out. But because these toxic Bitcoin maximalists are so fearful, it's manifesting in some interesting and at times hilarious ways. Like people literally screaming nonsense. Like I highlighted the other day, somebody screaming that XRP, the company, is trying to destroy Bitcoin. They're saying XRP is a company. It's just the most insane nonsense. And people just crying a river over all this stuff. And so I'm going to share with you a prime example of this. There's an actual thread of this person just spouting absolute nonsense about XRP, including nonsense about XRP missing blocks. And there's just a complete misunderstanding of what this is. So I want to clear that up in particular among the other stupid ass points that he made. But I'm going to share with you some posts from David Schwarz on the matter as well. Because the Bitcoin maximalists like to pretend and mislead people new to crypto into believing that XRP, it's not legit and it's effectively a malfunction chain and it doesn't work. It's not even a blockchain because you can't go back to the first block, the first ledger. And I'm going to explain why that's about the dumbest argument you could possibly make. And then as a result of all this saltiness, we have, thankfully, the memes. Look at this. This is from the Bitcoin Maxi Tiers account. This is hilarious to me. There's a new coin called Bitcoin Maxi Tiers on the XRP Ledger. It's a meme coin. And I wrote here, XRP Ledger meme coin to make sure Bitcoin Maxis cry even harder. So it's available on First Ledger. Now, that's not an advertisement or anything like that. I don't own this coin. I'm not going to. I just think it's funny, which is why I'm mentioning this. So at the time when the Bitcoin Maxis are crying the hardest, this comes out. And obviously people in our community are very witty, very funny. We have a sense of humor here, and this is fantastic. So you can buy Bitcoin Maxi Tiers. I'm not going to. I have none. I'm not going to hold any, but it is funny here. And so this has been addressed many times, though. In fact, here's a headline from January 17th of last year. Ripple CTO addresses concerns behind XRP Ledger missing Genesis block, cites Ethereum example. And so we'll get to that in just a moment here. But here's a toxic Bitcoin maximalist named Bitcoin Dad with 135,000 followers on X, and he's self-described as Bitcoin millionaire by age 33 on a mission to help men achieve financial freedom via Bitcoin. Okay, that's the one. So Bitcoin, he got rich from it. It's his thing. He may hold a bunch heavy, maybe he's just got really heavy Bitcoin bags still. And so he has decided that the least technologically advanced cryptocurrency ever created, so the worst one ever created, that's the one. That's the one to it that's going to help you achieve financial freedom. Even at a time like this, when it's already run up tremendously for the market cycle, that's the one because they're looking for exit liquidity. I guess that's pretty much it, right? And so look at what this guy wrote the other day because he is absolutely freaking out about what's happening with XRP, getting a level playing field, and obviously, as a result, getting support from Trump on down throughout the rest of the administration. Here's what he wrote. XRP isn't a meme coin, it's a scam coin. Folks, now think about this. The SEC sued Ripple, claiming that XRP itself is a security. Even they didn't allege a scam. Even they didn't allege fraud. And you better believe if they found even a hint of it, they would have shoved that in the lawsuit. He's just saying things. This guy, this idiot stick, he's just saying things because he wants this to be true, because he is threatened by XRP, and he is lying about what XRP is, its history, and what it does. And so he wrote, this thread will burn some bridges. Thread detailing 5 reasons why XRP is a scam, why the founders or Ripple Labs are Bitcoin's biggest enemy, and why it's the worst altcoin on the market, which is hilarious because, in terms of market cap, so people do use market cap as a metric. It's a measuring stick right? And so, coins jockey for a position in market cap, and that's what people are staring at. And so to say it's the worst altcoin on the market, that means that it's completely ridiculous. Because that's the metric people look at. What it actually means, if you look at XRP as number 3 in market cap today, that means that basically the entire world that buys crypto disagree with you and say XRP is actually the third till best, if you want to measure it that way. Now, technologically, it's superior to Bitcoin, obviously. But if you want to look at it the way that investors do, then it's number 3. What do you mean the worst altcoin on the market? And what exactly can Bitcoin do that XRP can't? XRP can do everything Bitcoin can do. But Bitcoin cannot do everything that XRP can do, very obviously. Oh, it's just so ridiculous. So anyway, number 1, the first 32,000 ledger entries were lost. What the F does that mean? Either it's incompetence or nefarious. There's really no way to trust or verify the XRP ledger or what happened within the coin in its infancy. This alone is totally unacceptable. But it gets worse. Okay, well, let's tackle this one before he tells us why it gets worse. First, just to be clear here, it is true that the first 32,569 ledgers were lost, but did you know that that's because XRP, it was actually in beta? Did you know that it wasn't launched for the entire world? Did you know that? Because here he says it's either incompetence or nefarious. What happened? What happened was, after this bug was found, while it was in beta and it wasn't available to the public, the bug was caught, it was fixed. And they didn't reset the ledger. So it starts at that number, but it doesn't mean anything. And so more on that in a second, but I just wanted to get the big thing out there and mention that right away. XRP was a product, it's new software, it's in beta, it's not available, a bad thing happened, they fixed the problem, and then they launched it. So they're saying that, so basically what they're arguing is that you can't go back to the Genesis block because of this corruption. But that's just kind of silly, because the Genesis block, effectively, it's 32,570, because that's where you can actually track stuff. So even if they had reset it, that still would have been the block. If they oh, this is garbage, they could have reset it, and then that would have been the Genesis block. But it is the Genesis block either way. It doesn't matter. So whether it's labeled, whether it's literally listed as number 1 or it's listed as 32,570, it is the same thing. It's just numbered differently. It doesn't, because that data, that's corrupted, it's gone, and so you could have reset the counter, and all of that still happened whether or not you reset the counter. That is the key takeaway. Period. And so it's not incompetence, it's not nefarious, it's a product that was still being created, you idiot stick. And so here, somebody asked David Schwarz, tell me, is there any other blockchain that lost its Genesis block? And David Schwarz responded to this January 16th of last year. The choice of what to consider the Genesis block is arbitrary. And folks, that's what I was getting at just a moment ago. Whether it's that one, or if you actually reset it and you said, okay, well, now you just can't see that there was a bug because we deleted all that information. You can't see it now. Well, so now it counts. So this is the Genesis block. I mean, it would have deleted an argument that these idiot sticks have, but it would have made literally no functional difference. And so he says, for example, ETH has lots of transactions before its Genesis block that are not in the publicly available record. And so it's not like this is only something that is true of XRP anyway, in the XRP ledger. And so then there was also this is January 16th also. Somebody wrote, so can you tweet here the transaction of the Genesis block of XRP? And David Schwarz wrote, there are no transactions in the Genesis block, but there were 534 transactions in the first 32,570 ledgers, and those transactions are presumed lost. And so, folks, again, you could have deleted that so nobody would have known that there was a bug, and then you could have moved forward, or you could have moved forward and not deleted it and then kept the numbers where they are. It functionally doesn't matter because it wasn't public. It does not matter. And so he says here, effectively, XRP Ledger has a Genesis block with a balance in it, just as ETH does, but a big difference is that the ownership of all but 0.01% of those balances for XRP Ledger is precisely and publicly known. So Jed got 9%, Chris Larson 9%, Arthur 2%, And then OpenCoin, which is Ripple, that's just the old name for the company, 79.99%, and beta testers and developers 0.013%. And he said, I just realized I didn't quite word that post as clearly as I could have. I mean, that was the breakdown of XRP distribution at Ledger 32,570, the effective genesis. So again, that is effectively what it is. 32,570, that is the genesis block. I don't care that the counter wasn't reset. It does not matter. All right. Then there was also this, and this is interesting. So this is in a thread where David Schwarz was explaining what the birthday of XRP is. And I'm not going to go through that whole thing, but I will note, just since we're in the thread, that the answer is June 2nd, 2012. So it's getting old. It's getting old. But David Schwarz wrote this in this thread, December 12th, 2019. He wrote, by June 2012, the XRP ledger was live and transacting. We were still madly squashing bugs as these were the early days. We reset the ledger sequence multiple times for binary format changes, and transaction history was erased. This does not mean the 100 billion XRP was created each time. Yeah, so the 100 billion XRP was created, it was just coded into it, and then if you do a reset, that's not you're not changing anything. It didn't delete the code of XRP existing and then recreate it. It was there one time on June 2nd. And you can see it on GitHub, actually. But the reason I'm highlighting this specifically is because he's noting here that they were squashing bugs. And so they literally reset the ledger multiple times. And I have seen videos of David Schwarz talking about this. And he said, and he was talking back about how we lost the first 32,569 ledgers. And he said, frankly, we were resetting it in that era. We were resetting the ledger constantly. And we just didn't know that ultimately, as we proceeded after those bugs were fixed, that made it so you couldn't read those ledgers, we didn't know that was going to be the final version of the XRP ledger, so we didn't reset it. That was it. They would have otherwise reset it, but they didn't realize it. And then they're like, well, at that point now, since this is the final version, we've got all this transaction history, why delete it? And so they just went forward with it, not realizing that in the future, toxic Bitcoin maximalists would be screaming crap like this, and that Moon Lambo would then have to make a video in the year 2025 to fix the crap that they're screaming on the webernets. But that's what happened. So they could have reset it, and they reset it multiple times. And even if they had reset it, it's just like, so what's the genesis block then? What counts as the genesis block? Because even if you went back to Ledger 1, which is lost, that still wouldn't be the genesis block, depending on how you look at it anyway. Because, again, the XRP ledger was reset an untold number of times. So technically, the genesis block would be the first time that the thing was running. Back in, so I guess it would have been June of 2012, whatever that would have been. But that's been deleted. It's scrapped. There's no way to retrieve it. So even if they reset it and it wasn't 32,570 as the first block, it would have been some unknown block that it's been deleted. Because it was in beta testing, okay? It makes sense that when you have a product that's not done, that you reset it a bunch of times as you're testing it. Duh. This is the dumbest freaking argument. He also said, all right, somebody asked him, is the ledger finally complete and trustable? Have you found the missing headers? That was June 8th, 2019. And David Schwarz said, it's complete as of ledger 32,570. The past before that is lost, but there was effectively zero value on the ledger at that time. Had we started a new ledger with the same initial balances by paying out of Genesis, nothing would be materially different today. And so, folks, that's why they looked at it and they're like, oh, well, this is the final version. We didn't reset it, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It was in beta. Okay, it doesn't matter. And he says, actually, that would have been worse. Timestamps would be lost, and transactions we recovered would not be in the history. So starting over would just have removed information. Right, so it would have removed the information. Now, to be clear, that's not the reason that they didn't restart it. He's been very clear about this publicly. The reason they didn't is because they didn't realize that was going to be the final version after they fixed the bug. That was it. Now let's see what the hell the rest of this dumbass typed here on the Webernets. Back to Bitcoin Dad here. It's a big fan of the worst cryptocurrency ever created, least technologically advanced. Huge fan of it. He's a huge fan of it. Die hard. Here's a second point. XRP is no way a decentralized digital asset. Ripple Labs, creator of XRP, owns over 44% of XRP's tokens. Okay, let's pause right there already. Ripple did not exist until months after XRP was created. That's literally not true. You can see the creation of XRP on GitHub on June 2nd, 2012. So that's provable. And it was months later that Ripple, the company, was formed. And they were first called, I believe the first name was Newcoin and then OpenCoin. I could have that backwards, but I think it was Newcoin, then OpenCoin, and then they ultimately renamed themselves Ripple. And so that would have been, I believe, September. I'd have to pull it up to be certain, but it's around there. It was months later. Ripple did not create it. They're just saying this crap. The founders, the creators of XRP, gifted a huge portion to Ripple, sure, but Ripple itself didn't create it, so that is factually incorrect. And yeah, Ripple does today, even today, hold a bunch of XRP tokens, but this is not a proof of stake system. Having a bunch of XRP does not give you special permissions, special powers over the XRP ledger. You can't make stuff happen. You're not a central authority. And it's the same with Bitcoin. I don't care if you had over half the supply of half the quantity of Bitcoin in existence, you don't then have special powers. That's not how it's programmed. That conceptually is the same as XRP. It's not a proof of stake system, so that's not how it works. And so then he wrote, if you include the founders' XRP, well over 50% of the supply is owned by a few insiders, and they were acquired from the pre-mine. Totally unethical and centralized. Oh, I'm sorry. So, so the creators made XRP, which is theirs, and they have the allocation, and they can decide who to give it to, if anyone, and then so they decide to do it, and it's an asset which, by the way, was worth, literally at the time, $0.00. It wasn't even traded on the market. So here's an asset that exists, worth literally nothing at that time, and they gave the thing that's worth nothing to a business, and some people also got it. What is unethical about giving an asset that has a $0 market value? What is unethical about that? What makes that centralized when it's not a proof of stake system? The answer is nothing. There's nothing unethical about this. And from the beginning, Ripple is transparent about how much XRP they have, and the creators were very transparent about who owns big quantities of XRP. And you know what? The market, with all that knowledge available to them, decided we still like XRP and we're going to buy it. And that's why it's number 3 in market cap today, because people don't give a damn. People are, well, I knew this in 2017 and I didn't give a damn. I was well aware of this. There's nothing unethical about it. The only thing that you could have argued was unethical is if they had been secretive about that and it weren't publicly available information. Then you could make that argument. But that didn't happen. They were always completely transparent about it, and people can either choose to participate in the ecosystem in a number of ways by either building on the ledger or by purchasing XRP. You can choose to do that, or if you don't like the ecosystem and the way that the distribution occurred in the beginning, then you cannot. Either way, you get to decide for yourself. There's nothing unethical about this, you idiot stick. My God, this guy's... You see how desperate these people are? They are so desperate. Their coin could be in trouble in the future. I don't know for sure, but it's so technologically insufficient that when utility takes hold in a much greater way, as adoption continues of this broadly of the cryptocurrency asset class and with there being a level playing field, it's hard to imagine why rational people would be interested in putting money into Bitcoin, which is effectively the pet rock of crypto. Like that's what it is. What a dumbass take. And then he just lies more, or he's just incompetent. I mean, it could be both, a little column A, a little column B. Number 3 here, he says, oh, this is so insane. This is an outright lie. XRP is just an unregistered security. While they recently won a battle with the SEC, they aren't out of the woods yet. Okay, folks, XRP was literally declared by Judge Torres on July 13th, 2023 to not be a security. He's literally lying. His Bitcoin bags must be so freaking heavy to be lying like this to his massive audience of 135,000 people. And he doesn't even give a damn. Just no shame from this Bitcoin prick. Just no shame whatsoever. And then he says, this is not an organic crypto project or something led by a community. Ripple is a company that sells a S-word coin. They employ a CEO, PR team, etc. Well, that's garbage. There's a big-ass community. And there's a lot of ways that you can tell this. For example, how about the number of wallets, which is approaching 6 million? 6 million XRP wallets. I'm sorry, no community? It's one of the biggest communities on the entire damn planet in the world of crypto. And now you could look at my channel, for example. This month I'm probably going to get close to 2 million views. I'm sorry, who's watching that? The Ripple employees? 2 million times? There are people out there who are interested in XRP. We are a very real community. That's the reason that I get the views that I get. By the way, thank you very much. I feel consistently humbled by that. I know that I'm not entitled to anything, so I really do appreciate that you spend some time with me. Because running this channel, it's like my favorite hobby I've ever had. So as an aside, thank you very much. I very much genuinely appreciate it. But I say that just to point out that obviously there's a big-ass community. And then the fact, so what? The fact that there's a CEO of a company that's building something on top of this decentralized ecosystem, that means it's not organic? Well, then what the hell are people doing trying to build crap on top of the Bitcoin blockchain? Like, for instance, Jack Mallers copying Ripple's business plan to a certain degree. That's effectively what he's doing with his company Strike, using Bitcoin as a bridge currency on using the Lightning Network, which barely even functions. So that's fine. So you can have a CEO leading Strike, and that's organic. But then when Ripple does it, and they're using XRP instead of Bitcoin as a bridge currency, then it's not organic? What the hell is wrong with your brains? You have XRP derangement syndrome. You have applesauce for brains. This is ridiculous. And here he shared this screen grab, reads as follows. I'm just going to read part of it. In July 2023, Judge Annalisa Torres ruled that programmatic sales of XRP did not meet the criteria for the third prong of the Howey test. He doesn't know what that means. That means that it's not a security. He doesn't even know that because he's a freaking dumbass. He put on his screen proof that XRP is not a security. If it did meet the criteria, then it would be a security. He has it exactly backwards because he's a freaking dumbass. And he's just trying to lie to people. He thought he had a screen grab that proved his point that XRP is a security. And it does the exact opposite, which I find hilarious. I find absolutely hilarious. Oh my God, this guy sucks. Here's his fourth point. XRP employs a marketing and PR team to sabotage Bitcoin. Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen donated $5 million to Greenpeace to commission this art piece and PR campaign to spread lies about Bitcoin's energy use, even though Bitcoin mining is good for the environment and power grid. Okay, first on the Bitcoin mining thing, even if you have like 100% natural and all renewable and that all works out, and so then you can be like, see, it's not a problem for the... I would still say, why are you wasting it on this just clunky technology, this beastly, this energy hog? Why are you wasting it there? If you were able to get all this renewable energy, why not put it into something else? Like maybe an efficient technology, like maybe, because it takes almost no energy to run the XRP ledger, but why wouldn't you just use that energy for other purposes then? So even then it's stupid as hell. What a dumbass argument. But now as far as Chris Larsen, yeah, Chris Larsen, he is known to be politically on the left. Major liberal, okay? He just is. And in a big company, it shouldn't be surprising that you're going to find people on the left politically and people on the right politically. For instance, Stuart Alderati, he's part of the C-suite. He donated tons of XRP at the time worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to support Trump, for example. Chris Larsen, he doesn't feel that way. Now, he's been for decades very concerned about climate change, so on and so forth. And whatever you think about that, that's fine. I'm not getting into it in this video. This is not a political channel. But he feels very strongly about that. He just does. And he knows Bitcoin is an energy hog, and he genuinely believes that things should change. And so, yes, he donated money pushing to have a code change. And you can think that's good. You can think that bad. You can find both opinions in the XRP community. That's for sure. A lot of people in the XRP community hate that he was doing this, and that's fine if you hate that. But it wasn't Ripple. It's an individual who engages in all sorts of philanthropy. He donates to all sorts of causes. And here, he thought that this is a good thing. So right or wrong, it's his opinion, and he's entitled to it, and it's not Ripple, and it doesn't matter, and it's not sabotaging Bitcoin. It was to have a code change and have Bitcoin persist, but be more energy efficient. Either way, it wasn't to sabotage Bitcoin, you freaking idiot. This is absolutely astonishing. In fact, what Ripple's doing now, they're pushing for a level playing field. And even though that's probably long-term bad for Bitcoin, which is why he's responding like this, what they're doing in pushing for this level playing field, it would result in a likelihood, if there's going to be a national stockpile of crypto assets, it's a virtual certainty that Bitcoin would be included in that. So that would be good. That would be good for them. But they still view this as bad because they're threatened. They are absolutely threatened. And then number 5 here, Ripple's strategy to pump their price is to cozy up to politicians that hate Bitcoin and actively pursue public policy initiatives opposed to Bitcoin adoption. XRP supports politicians opposed to not only Bitcoin, but the entire crypto industry. So I just said a part of my piece on that anyway, which is that obviously some of what Ripple is doing would be very good for Bitcoin specifically. I just cited that. But it's also true that if you're lobbying for politicians for a specific thing, that's because it's in the best interest of your company. Just like very wealthy individuals in the world of crypto that have heavy Bitcoin bags, and a lot of them are just in that cult mentality, they are spending their money to lobby specifically for Bitcoin. And so you could twist that and say, that's to destroy everything that's not Bitcoin. You could say that, but they're lobbying for their interests. Just like Ripple's lobbying for their interests. How does he not get these very simple concepts? It's just astonishing to me. This is a stupid person, and he could be, or he's smart, or at least of moderate intelligence, because he can type, like he knows how to type sentences, so I guess that counts for something technically. Or he's just lying. Or he's incompetent. Does he not know how to use the internet to Google search all these points and find out that they're complete and utter garbage? Because now I had to spend my time recording this latest Moon Lambo hot jam to rip all of this crap to shreds just so we can place it where it belongs, which is the Moon Lambo wood chipper, ideally to never be seen or spoken of again. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.